Good evening and welcome to the Victorian Premier League online for another week. It's round 8 of the Victorian Premier League and it's the league leaders, the Dandenong Thunder, entertaining powerhouse South Melbourne. I'm Simon McCuskey and welcome to George Andrews Reserve, where South Melbourne are travelling to a Dandenong Thunder outfit that are still undefeated for the season. And both teams have just walked onto the pitch, and it was a game that was actually having second thoughts as to whether it was going to be played or not, because heavy rain last night in Melbourne, and it was a referee inspection of the pitch only an hour and a half before the game started, which determined that this game will be proceeding. Now let's turn our attentions to the lineups, and for the undefeated Dandenong Thunder, in goals, number 1, Stuart Webster, 3, Andrew Mullett, 5, Brian Brand, 7, Liam Kearney, number 8, Matthew Theodore, 9, Vetan Kochari, 10, Luke Sherburn, 11, Iki Jawadi, 13, Shane Rexepi, 14, Craig Alvin, and number 16, Nathaniel Foster. And for the visitors, South Melbourne, in goals, number 1, Peter Gavalis, 3, Rhodey Payne, 6, Dimitri Zardis, number 8, Dimi Hatzimuratis, 9, Trent Rickson, 10, Glenn Trefiro, 11, Brad Norton, 14, Philip Johnson, 18, Marinos Gasparis, 23, Jason Trefiro, and number 25, Kyle Joyeth. And South Melbourne, what a game this is for them in particular, travelling on the road, and last week suffered a hiccup, a big one too, at Lakeside Stadium, where they lost to another rival of theirs, Melbourne Knights, by 2-1. And as for the Dandenong Thunder, what an amazing record this is. Played 7, won 7, and check out this for a goal difference, 4-18 against 1, and it was a penalty conceded against Nooket City back in round 5, the only goal they've conceded for the season. And South Melbourne, both of these teams, South Melbourne and the Dandenong Thunder, were undefeated after round 3, but ever since that draw away to Richmond in round 4, South Melbourne just have been up and down. After round 4, we mentioned that draw to Richmond, 1-1 away at Kevin Bartlett Reserve. South Melbourne lost at home to Lakeside Stadium to the newly promoted Southern Stars by 2-0, and managed to scrap a win against Hume City away on the road by 1-0. And last week, back at Lakeside Stadium, lost by 2-1. So their form at home is definitely questionable the last month. South Melbourne, and ironically away, that's where they have been collecting points of late. But it's a big challenge to collect points away here against the undefeated Dandenong Thunder, let alone only conceding a goal, let alone a point for the season. A huge task awaits South Melbourne to see, can they collect a point at least away to the league leaders. And it will be music to the ears of the Dandenong Thunder, particularly last night's result, where round 8 kicked off. Hume City entertained the Green Gully Cavaliers, the reigning champions, and Hume City defeated Green Gully by 1-0, meaning that the Dandenong Thunder's buffer on top still remains at 6 points. And meanwhile, we're underway here at George Andrews Reserve, and the referee, ironically, talk about this, for an A-list lineup of referees, and the match officials, Ben Williams, Matthew Crean and Hakan Unners, and this match will serve as a bit of a practice run, because all 3 referees are on their way to London 2012, officiating in football games. Unfortunately, the Olyroos didn't qualify for the tournament, but Australia will have a presence via the referees, and we wish all 3 referees the best of luck, and in particular Ben Williams and Matthew Crean either officiated or assisted proceedings in the Hyundai A-League Grand Final. What a game that was, in particular between the Brisbane Roar and the Perth Glory, going back to back. The Roar, and it was an absolute finale to put a sign-off to the national competition this season. Rickson at a new club. What a career he had with Northcote City. And he's made the move across, along with his manager, Peter Tsolakis, now at the helm at South Melbourne, and so too the Trefiro brothers. A few new signings for South Melbourne in the off-season. Gavalis straight down the corridor, cleared by Rexepi. What a season he's having. Now here's Payne. South Melbourne's defence will be tested, particular no Luke Biles and no Stephen O'Dore with injury. It really is a makeshift defence lined up. And the transfer to waste Dandenong Thunder with their first chance to bring the ball deep in their half. 5 minutes played here at George Andrews Reserve. Dandenong Thunder first. South Melbourne just sitting on the edge of the 5. They're in equal 5th with Hume City and Northcote City. Northcote City playing Heidelberg tomorrow. And surely a late challenge from Rickson, and he needs to be careful here. There, Luke Sherburn. And this, you think, will be the first yellow card for the afternoon. Trent Rickson. It was a late challenge. Let's see what the referee has to say. Ben Williams. And I'm sure none of that will be tolerated for the rest of the afternoon. Trent Rickson, the first in Ben Williams' book for the afternoon. I'm also waiting for proceedings to recommence. Round 8, Victorian Premier League football did kick off last night. Hume City defeated Green Gully by a goal to nil. This afternoon's match coming to you live wherever you're watching worldwide. It's welcome. It's a huge welcome. And can the Dandenong Thunder keep their unbeaten streak alive against heavyweight South Melbourne? And Southern Stars up against Richmond. And that's another 6-pointer. Two teams looking for 3 points to get off that relegation battle, which is already starting a third of the way into the season. And then tomorrow it's the newly promoted Moreland Zebras up against the Bentley Greens. Northcote entertaining Heidelberg. That's a huge derby indeed. And then round 8 will finish with another huge match. The Melbourne Knights up against the Oakley Cannons. And you can catch all of the live scores, news and happenings around the ground. And do become a friend of the Football Federation of Victoria's Facebook page. Hit the like button or follow the Twitter page, and you'll be kept up to date with all of the news and proceedings around the grounds. And once again, Ben Williams in the thick of things. Surely this could be another yellow card for dissent, and this time it's Shane Rexepi. And referee Ben Williams being stern from minute 1. First Rickson and now Rexepi. I just mentioned Rexepi's had a brilliant season, formerly of the Richmond Eagles. He's been a Dandenong now with a few seasons. He and Rickson in Williams' book for the afternoon. And Hakan Anna's there, the assistant on the grandstand side. Whilst Matthew Cream, the assistant here on the media broadcast end. Alvin, so solid in defence, combining with Theodore. And surely an obstruction here. Nathaniel Foster. And a 50-50 there for my liking. But Ben Williams obviously siding that player Marinos Gasparis had no eyes for the ball. Liam Kearney. To take this set piece, and he can definitely whip this in with his left boot. And while South Melbourne manager Peter Tsalakis instructing his troops from the sidelines, new manager at the helm from Northcote City. Kearney or Theodore. And in fact, Rexepi now. It's Theodore looking to play it slow now. Ben Williams not happy with this wall. And it will be taken again. What a climax this is to a set piece. Kearney setting it in, and it nearly resulted in an own goal. Huge let off there for South Melbourne. And it was well placed into the box. That ball coming in from Kearney. And the defender looked like Dimitri Zardis. Will get that checked in a moment. It absolutely flew off his head. Skyrocketed to face the cross of goal. That certainly was Zardis. Here he is again combining with Johnson. Dimitri Zardis there. Flicking that header wide. And that would have been the worst of all possible starts for South Melbourne. Only 10 minutes into this game. Gavalis towards the tall timber of Rickson. Very physical game. We've started with the George Andrews reserve. And a rare error from Kearney. Normally plays those down the line to Nathaniel Foster. Trafiro. He and his brother making the transfer from Northcote City in the off-season. And what pickups they were for Northcote. It's been recognised by South Melbourne. And one of 4 players to make the move over the off-season. Trent Rickson plus the coach, Peter Tsoulakis. Here's Dimitri Zardis, formerly the Eagles. Gavalis. Trent Rickson. The only real threat up front to date. Trafiro. A real tussle for possession here. Theodore squeezing through some congestion. Jawadi. Kochari. Intercepted there by Payne. Not the best of passes there from Sherburne. And now Brand with plenty of time and space. Thunder. And it shows in their goal difference, just so organised this season. Kearney towards the veteran Kochari, but this time South sitting back and pretty, and a lapse there from Norden. To the dismay of his manager, Peter Tsoulakis. Kochari with brutal strength, and this time Foster, the culprit. On Zardis, playing out of position this afternoon. Normally more playing that screening midfield or centre midfield role. Acting as a centre half in the absence of Stephen O'Dore. And also Luke Biles out with injury. 2 huge outs in defence for South Melbourne. Gavalis towards Rickson. Mullet. Kearney had a bit of difficulty disposing of his passes along the left side. Not sure Rickson saw him. And we really are dealing with a difficult pitch. You can see players just struggling to adapt with it. Extremely greasy football. Here's Alvin. Thunder will try their luck on the right. Foster. May have been infringed there, Johnson. Referee nevertheless giving the advantage. Gasparis. Needs to be pinpoint. It's undone. Rexepi. And smart play this from South Melbourne. Pushing up. Trying to squeeze Foster in an offside position. And in turn it's forced Dandenong back. You can see what Kasparis wanted there, the 1-2. Here's Kearney. Foster in the space. Has Kochari in the box. But only a corner for the Thunder. It's looking promising. Nil-nil after 15 minutes played at George Andrews Reserve. Between the league leaders Dandenong Thunder and South Melbourne. South doing enough through Joyef. Brilliant defence, turned it into a counter-attack, and you think this should be another card. Great play there from Kyle Joyef. Cleared the corner off the box. Mopped up the football. And Jawadi, lucky to get away with that without a card. Speaking of the devil. Rickson. A tail of turnovers. Kearney. He's floating there between the left and the centre of the pitch. Alvin. Slow but measured attack this from the Thunder. Not wanting to throw away possession. Kearney. And that outer grandstand packed in this inclement cold Melbourne weather. Cleared by Norden. Gasparis. Hatsimuratas, another Eagle, former Richmond Eagle as well. Norden. Good ball to Rickson. Problem, no one there on the inside for South Melbourne. Played that well, Trent Rickson. Was that an elbow from Norden? Referee doesn't think so. And it takes a lot to that strength, Vetten Korchadi. Payne. Pretty much the only recognisable member of the back four for South Melbourne. They really are cut with injuries, particularly in their defence. Gavala, such an experienced keeper over the years. Lovely touch from Trafiro. This looks promising for South. Whipped wide. Joyef can finish these. Whips it across goal straight to Webster. His first involvement for the afternoon. It's taken just under 20 minutes to do so. Joyef looks dangerous with the football this afternoon. The former Sunshine Georgie. And turning our attention briefly to the Division 1 scene in Victoria. The Georgies starting the season strong and in prime position to make a quick rebound back to the Victorian Premier League, but it's a long season. But so far, the Georgies in the driver's seat despite losing 1-0 to Werribee City last week. Norden. Gasparis looking for that space on the left side. Whipped in. Cleared by Brand. And now the Thunder on the counter. Theodore can spin Kearney wide with an acre of space on the left. But Marinos Gasparis to the rescue for South Melbourne, but will it be for long? Good pressure there from Brand. Rickson. Back with Gasparis. Good reading of the play there between Rickson and Gasparis, but caught in that congestion, Marinos Gasparis touches the pressure of the Thunder, particularly in midfield. Solid challenge there, Trafiro. And again, but not enough to gift him possession. Foster. This time brought down. Payne not happy about it. And you think Kearney again will deliver a ball which nearly delivered the Thunder an own goal. In very similar position. Once again, referee Williams now content with the wall. Liam Kearney for the Thunder to fire this in. It should be Gavalis as it is. And it was struck too high to give anyone a chance there for the Thunder. Just lofted straight into the hands of Gavalis. Trafiro. Lovely build up this from South. Rixon can't get away through Craig Alvin. Pressure coming in. 2 from Kearney. But South, you sense a goal somewhere. And Joyef. Well, he sprayed that wide. South Melbourne beginning to make their presence in this match. Looking more comfortable with the football attacking. And the Clarendon corner. The travelling fans from South Melbourne making their voice heard. Tucked in the Dandenong Thunder stand. And the home supporters just a bit quieter than usual. Joyef. Once again, Trafiro there on the far post. That's his target. And the woodwork there to the rescue of Webster. Not sure that was intentional, but it nearly did some damage to the relief of the Dandenong Thunder. Kearney, lovely through, but it won't get through the defences of Payne, who read that well. Foster was clear on the inside. He certainly does look dangerous there along that left side for South Melbourne. Kyle Joyef. Definitely troubling Rexepi this afternoon. In fact, really good challenge there between Rixon and also Alvin. Rexepi clearing for the Thunder. Gasparis. Once again, that target, Joyef, collected a few frequent flyer points there. And hopefully for his sake, he hasn't hurt his back in the process. The Thunder can ill afford more injuries. In fact, South Melbourne. They're already stretched with resources this afternoon, South Melbourne. We spoke about that in defence. But Joyef really has been a spark to supplement Rixon this afternoon. And Ben Williams and Peter Tsalakis just having a chat. Peter Tsalakis, the former South Melbourne great in midfield. And once again, easy pickings for Gavalis. Straight to Payne. What about this chase there from Foster? And Payne just lacks some numbers, but it was a great run indeed. Foster, that man who initiated the pressure. And Payne is picking up Joyef. He needs to be careful here, Kyle Joyef. Definitely some rough elements in this game this afternoon. I'm sure it's a bit of a shock to the system at times for Ben Williams. It's good to see that the nation's best referees are officiating in this game this afternoon between the Thunder and South Melbourne. 3 referees off to London 2012. Ben Williams in charge this afternoon with the whistle, but it's Hakan Anas and Matthew Cream, the assistants, who'll be accompanying the Australian contingent of referees to oversee the football tournament in London. We wish them all the best. Sherburn. Here's Theodore. It really is a congested midfield for both teams to break down this afternoon. That man Kearney and also Theodore not given much space to play the football with. Lovely touch from Rickson. Had that held up for Hatsimuratas. Life would have posed a problem for the Thunder. Desperation there from Theodore. Payne. The wind just doing enough to hold that up for the runner Hatsimuratas on the right. Rexepi. Another throw for the Thunder. Just on the cusp of the 25th minute mark in this first half. If you're just joining the broadcast, welcome wherever you are worldwide. It's 0-0 between the Dandenong Thunder and South Melbourne. A very even contest to date. Both teams with a chance to score. Ironically, it could have been an own goal off the head of Dimitri Zardes in the 10th minute that would have gifted the Thunder the lead, and Kyle Joy have hit the woodwork in the 20th minute mark. Rexepi. Gavalis read it well. And unintentional collision there between he and Brand. Gavalis just taking his time to restart. Meanwhile, Ben Williams and also Sherbin having a chat in the centre of the park. Here's Sherbin. Well tracked by Joyef. Rexepi tracking deep. I was thinking about Kearney with the switch. Played it to Theodore instead. South should have the numbers to clear. Zardes. Foster. Lovely ball into space. Kearney. Korchadi there on the back post. Out-muscled by Payne. Rexepi firing it in. Cleared by Zardes. And the physical contest continues. See another challenge there between Rickson and also Jawadi as the rain's about to start, and Gavalas taking no chances there. Wasn't sure if Foster was there on the back post. And speaking of that rain, it's just about to start here at George Andrews Reserve, and a slippery pitch and football and conditions will come even more problematic as we get deeper into this contest. Kearney. And some holding on. And is blinded by it, Williams, and also Trefiro. Flicked away. Korchadi. Should have shot first time, you thought. And this time it's Rexepi. Has he done enough to get a corner? And what an interesting piece of play there. Some holding on in particular. There on the edge of the box. Trefiro being held, and fairness to Ben Williams, he was blinded by it. Play continued. Korchadi there had a shot. The first time opted not to take it, laid it off. Rexepi charged down his shot, and it was enough to draw a corner. And Korchadi normally takes his chances first time, opted for the unselfish play, laid it wide. Can the Thunder score from this play? Rexepi's corner. Cleared by Payne. Theodore. Foster, the target. Korchadi. And the flag will go up for Foster. No doubt about it. That 1-2 between he and Kochadi. The flag was up. Just over 15 minutes remaining in this first half. It's 0-0 between the Dandenong Thunder and South Melbourne. Round 8 Victorian Premier League football coming to you live from George Andrews Reserve in South Dandenong, in what is a true definition of a Melbourne winter's afternoon. Cold, windy, the rain about to start. You think it'll get heavier as this match continues. And so much on the line, rather, for both teams. Webster, unsure whether to come off his line there. He did. And Rickson was hesitant there for a minute, thinking Webster was going to get to it. And for a second there was nearly some blushes there from Webster. To his relief, Rickson fires wide. Both players just stood still there for a second. Webster. He's looked good. Dimitri Zardes sliding in as a centre-half this afternoon. He nearly conceded that own goal, but there wouldn't have been much he could do about it, even by his account. It was a good ball that was squared in by Kearney. Theodore. Some holding between he and Trafiro. Norton. Just asking Foster, is that the appropriate clearance? And from here, it definitely doesn't look like 10 yards. Norton questioning it. And not sure what the assistant's doing here. In fact, now Williams giving him the instruction to come back, Foster. And, well, I've got to ask, where is the assistant in this instance to clarify that one? Well judged by Brand. Webster. We'll restart for the Thunder. Not the best of clearances, but it was effective. Rexepi played it quickly. Sherburn buying some space on the inside. Nice little dummy there. Bran. And that's undone from Brian Brand. Unusual for the Thunder to really just go long like that. I really do prefer to play the ball on the ground when playing it up. Trafiro. The range is starting to get a touch heavier. Gasparis. Webster should have time, but just Rickson was closing. And some nudging there between he and Jawadi. And this time Webster with confidence. Off his line and with vision too. Sherburn under some pressure from Joyef. Joyef not happy. As we mentioned, it really is a physical game in this opening 35 minutes. But credit to the referee, has been in control of the contest, particularly when issuing those yellow cards early on to Rexepi and Trent Rickson. Theodore. Here's Kearney. The advantage given. The Thunder looking to break this deadlock. And now The advantage was given. Will Joyef go in the books? And this looks like a cut. Or will it just be a chat between Williams and Kyle Joyef? And I'm sure Ben Williams is just telling Kyle Joyef to jump on the Football Federation of Victoria's Facebook page, become a friend, and get all the live scores, news and happenings around the ground. In fact, they're probably exchanging Twitter accounts as well at the same time. So both of them, and in fact the entire football community, can track all the latest scores and news around the grounds. Sherburn. This time Foster was onside. What about that for a miscued clearance? Straight into the arms of Gavlas. Rickson laid it on a plate perfectly for Hatzimuratas, who was obstructed. No doubt about it. Great play there from Trent Rickson, his strength and placement of that football. He bought South Melbourne some space on the right. Trafiro. A great chance for South Melbourne. It hit the lead, or gained some advantage before the half-time break. That won't occur at this play. Salakis will give the ball back to Norden. Gasparis. The former championship winning player with the Preston Lions. Now with South Melbourne. Played down the line by Giardis. Will be a challenge for Joyef to get it. Webster opts for the direct route again. This time Cocciardi coming deep. Kearney, and this time the flag will be down for Foster. It's a great chance for the Thunder to hit the lead, and not often does Foster spray those, but he has in that instance. And really good play there between Cocciardi and Kearney. Cocciardi came in deep. He brought his player in that was marking him too. Deep and freed up Kearney there on the inside, and what a ball that was to Foster into space. And Nathaniel Foster, not on his preferred boot, but the best chance for the game to date for either of these teams to find the advantage leading into half-time. We've got just over 5 minutes remaining in this first half. And what has been a very congested midfield this afternoon. Both teams really struggling to break it down. That was the first time Kearney and also Foster did it. But this time the flag's up. A delayed call. Or in Foster's defence, he didn't hear it. Gavalis will restart. And it was the correct call from Hakan Anas too, who's normally the man in charge of these games. But we've got two experienced A-League officials with a chance to brush up their refereeing skills before making the trip to London. And Jawadi's ball couldn't find a target. Rickson. And a good ball. This will force Webster off his line. And in fact, outside of his box. Great ball there from Rickson. Played that into space superbly for Joyef. Reading the danger there, Webster. You wouldn't expect anything less. Trafiro. Some nice footwork. Good pressure there coming in. Sherburn. And this releases Kearney. But look at the stream of blue shirts making their way back. Looking for the call. And Foster couldn't keep it up alive. But still disappointed with the call. In particular, Johnson and Giardis thought Foster was in an offside position. Williams just reminding Trafiro where the throw needs to be taken. This game continuing to be physical. Plenty of intervention from that man with the whistle, Ben Williams, this half. Trafiro wants Rickson. It just won't hold up. He knows he hit it a touch too heavy. Webster. Rickson. Nice transfer this from South Melbourne. The question is, where will it go? Payne. Cut off by Brand. This intriguing contest continues. It's been quite an even affair between the Thunder and South Melbourne. Scores locked at 0-0. Getting closer than ever towards half-time. Just under 5 minutes remaining. Chris Taylor just having a good look at proceedings. The Dandenong Thunder manager on the sideline. And speaking of managers, it's good to see that here in the Media Broadcast Centre, Stuart Munro, back at his former club, here to look at proceedings. What a season he had in particular too. Just couldn't go one step further with the Perth Glory. In fact, two clubs Stuart Munro has managed, South Melbourne and the Thunder, in his managerial career. I'm not sure if the players originally complained that the original ball was flat, hence a substitute ball has made its way out. Kearney with 2 to beat. Trafiro should clear. Pressure from Kuchati. The Thunder just wanting to bottle that ball deep in South Melbourne's half. Press for a chance to cause some damage on the scoreboard before half time. Mullet. Here's Rexepi. And there's targets in the box too. I'll charge from Joyef. Rexepi may get a second crack. Cleared by Johnson. Good pressure there from Rexepi, mopping up. Failed to get the first cross right. Piled on enough pressure and mopped it up to draw the corner. Kearney towering above Brand, just couldn't keep it down. The tall timber there. Good 15 yards from goal. Just couldn't keep that header down. Gavalis. Brand again. Unchallenged. Once again, the pressure from Crociati. That's been his strength. Gavalis. Rickson once again. It's been his strength this afternoon, winning plenty of balls from the air. And his placement has been superb, in particular to the run of Trefiro and also Hatzimuratas there on the right. Norton. Rickson. Joyev was fouled. And now Joyev, this time troubled, will need some medical attention. And in the meantime, while we do hope that Kyle Joyev's okay, just remind you that round 8 of the Victorian Premier League kicked off last night, where Hume City were up against the reigning champions Green Gully, and it was Hume triumphant in that contest by a goal to nil, and it put a halt on Green Gully's form of late, and also denied the Cavaliers a chance to etch into the lead that the Thunder have at the top of the table. But now South Melbourne back into the mix, and wasn't the most convincing of clearances, but it did its job. And that one nearly collected maximum points. Had a damn good swipe at our cameraman Jared, and nearly collected the glass and all. Joyev. And this time, frustrated. He's been clipped again, but will collect the free kick. Kasparis with a great chance for South Melbourne as we creep into the latter stages of this half. Surely only a minute or two of stoppage time remaining. And a great chance for South Melbourne to find the lead and break this deadlock. Kasparis, disappointing set piece. He knows he can do so much better than that. And on that note, Ben Williams signals half-time in this round 8 contest between the Thunder and South Melbourne. Scores locked at 0-0. An entertaining affair. Both teams with two clear-cut chances, but unable to convert on either occasion. So it remains a stalemate here at half-time. 0-0 between the Dandenong Thunder and South Melbourne. We trust you've enjoyed the action to date, and please do join us in another 10 minutes where we'll be back with you live with all the action here from George Andrews Reserve in the second half.
2 bars. It's down to bars. 2 bars, it's recording.
Welcome back to George Andrews Reserve for the second half between the Dandenong Thunder and South Melbourne. It's 0-0 at the moment, both the Thunder and South Melbourne with 1 or 2 good chances to break the deadlock. It still remains a stalemate at 0-0. And the Thunder looking to maintain their unblemished record for the season. It's a remarkable statistic too. Played 7, won 7. South Melbourne, after such a positive start to the season, winning their first 3, have just gone off the railroads, winning, losing or drawing games, and they now see themselves hanging on the edge of the 5, and a win away would be a difficult assignment against the Thunder. It's absolutely critical to keep their season on track. And South Melbourne lost to their big rivals, the Melbourne Knights, last week by 2-1, and the Thunder scored midway through the first half in their 1-0 victory against Heidelberg United. And it's a big game for the Thunder this afternoon as well. Kochadi missed it. And the Thunder, what a game we've got next Friday night up against the Oakley Cannons. And that kicks off round 9 Victorian Premier League football next Friday. And as for South Melbourne, another derby for them as well. Big game at Lakeside Stadium next Sunday, 5 PM, up against Northcote City. And it's such an even contest, with the exception of Dandenong holding a 6-point lead in this competition. It really is such an even competition this season in the Victorian Premier League. And despite the margin between the Thunder and South Melbourne on the ladder after round 7 on the table, not much has really split these teams to date, particularly South Melbourne, who are water thin in defence, missing the likes of Biles and O'Dore. And Zardes has looked good in that makeshift centre half role. And the half volley there, the crack from Trafiro straight into the arms of Webster. And speaking of next week, our online game for round 9 will be a Kevin Bartlett reserve between Richmond and Hume City. And that game kicking off at 8:30 next Friday night. But do jump on the Football Federation of Victoria website, Facebook pages, or even Twitter for confirmation of that game to be broadcast during the week. And it's a warm welcome worldwide wherever you are. Trust you're enjoying this coverage. Round 8 Premier League football coming to you live from Dandenong. The league leader, the Thunder, up against South Melbourne in their blue kit, South Melbourne. And although the away team, South Melbourne, in their traditional blue kit, it poses no clash with the host, the Thunder, in their red and black kit. Gavalis will restart. A late start to this first half. Gavalis. Sherman plucks Rexepi in space. Back to the last line in Webster. Formerly with the Pines and the Frankston Pines, who were once upon a time in the Victorian Premier League, and the Oakley Cannons. Been with the Thunder now for a couple of years. Joyef dispossessed. Kasparis. Chris Taylor with the football. Giving back to Rexepi. And now Ben Williams in a bone of contention with exactly where possession lies with. And this is getting more heated than the trials I saw on Eurovision last night. Trafiro, dispossessed. Rexepi. The target's Brand, and should be Gavalis as it is. Dark clouds constantly looming over George Andrews' reserve. In fact, wouldn't be surprised if the lights do come on. Plenty of night football played here at George Andrews' reserve. And it's a rare day game for Thunder, and it's bleak conditions to say the least. Shervin, once again, this physical contest that we saw in the first half continuing to roll on in the second. Rexepi looking for a target and finds one back through Brand. Brand, the target was Foster. Not cleared there by Rody Payne. Read the danger. Hatzimuratis intercepted there by Shervin. No advantage. Good refereeing there from Ben Williams. Rexepi. Foster. Theodore. Joyev had a good first half by his standards. He's been on the bench the last couple of weeks for South Melbourne and needed to be careful there with the challenge. Shervin, and luckily for his sake, he didn't collect Trafiro in the process. That could have been nasty. It's Jason Trafiro to his brother Glenn. Payne. Once again, another nudge. This time to the advantage of South Melbourne. Gasparis down the line. Alvin will combine with Kearney. And the danger cleared temporarily for the Thunder. Rickson. He thought he had the run there to assist him through Johnson, not to be. South Melbourne, Hatzimuratis has lost it. And it's been quite a heated debate in the second half. Both teams contesting possession on every contest. It really has been a physical game to date. Now this is going to be interesting. Now it was off ball. Brandon Rickson. Now I wonder if the assistant had a good look at this, but Ben Williams, the main referee, adamant he saw it. And there's an off-field incident there between Brand and Nixon. Trent Rickson will be collecting a free kick. This is interesting. I'm not sure what happened off ball, but it will be a free kick and a great chance for South Melbourne to find the advantage. It's 0-0 at the moment. And this is definitely Glenn Trefiro territory. He scored plenty of these with Northcote City in his heyday. Now with South Melbourne. Trefiro. Bending ball saved by Webster. It's a brilliant save too. It was goal bound. Trefiro did what he does best. Bent that set piece in. And Webster diving down far to his left. Tipped it out for a corner. Beautiful piece of goalkeeping and a great set piece delivered. Struck with precision and accuracy there from Glenn Trefiro. South Melbourne with the upper hand early in this second half. Attack gone to waste. An infringement spotted by Ben Williams. And it's Stuart Webster's kick. Great piece of goalkeeping before there from Stuart Webster. Missed there by Sherburn and also Trefiro. Payne with the throw. Trefiro nearly dispossessed. South Melbourne weave their way through some pretty heavy traffic. Good play there from Trefiro, and it's lost by Joyev. That looked like a promising build up there from South Melbourne. Kochari. And once again, Ben Williams. He's been busy with the whistle this afternoon. Johnson. Hatsimuratas. South Melbourne definitely with the advantage. It's early days in this second half. They've got nothing to show for it on the scoreboard, nor do the Thunder. An even contest thus far. South Melbourne starting this second half stronger. Exactly 55 minutes lapsed in this contest. It's 0-0 between the league leaders, the Dandenong Thunder, and South Melbourne. South Melbourne, a must-win game. If one of Victorian football's powerhouses to try and revive their season. They're there in the mix, currently sitting in equal fifth position on the table with 10 points. And 2 adrift from the Bentley Greens on 12. And as for the Thunder, should they win this game, and they will go a remarkable 9 points clear after 8 rounds of this competition. But it's currently locked at 0-0. No team with the upper hand. Webster with the clearance. Should be Payne's throw. Played beautifully down the line by Payne, but even better read there from Brand. Here's Mullet. Pressure from Rickson. Kearney. Here's Theodore. Couldn't get past the defences of Hatsimuratas and Trefiro. And good pressure there from Kochari, forcing that turnover when Norton swept. And here's a chance for the Thunder on the back post, and tipped out there from Gavalis. And there was a beautiful ball whipped in. A chance there for Sherburn on the back post. It was goal-bound Gavalis at full stretch. Tipped that out on the top corner. Kearney with the corner, and just when South Melbourne had the early ascendancy in the second half, the Thunder respond with a counter-attack themselves. There's a good ball whipped in there, and a chance for Sherburn to finish. Two brilliant pieces of goalkeeping we've seen in this half, and this time fired in. The flag down for the Thunder. An open goal looms. Unable to get his footing. Gavalis, a brilliant save, and ultimately swept off the line there. It looked like Rickson for South Melbourne. And South Melbourne have lived dangerously twice in the space of a minute. And that was brilliant play there from South Melbourne. First of all, Gavalis, just when you thought in close range, Trent Rickson and also Johnson. And it was Johnson that cleared that ball off the line. He did all the hard work there, Sherburn. Got around Gavalis, but made the angle too narrow for his liking. And it was that man there, Johnson, who's putting the pressure on Sherburn, who swept off the line and kept a clean sheet for South Melbourne. Theodore. Solid challenge there from Trafiro. Foster draws the corner from Johnson's leg. Kearney. And well held. Peter Gavalis. Now this will be interesting. Brand infringed on Gavalis. This is looking nasty, and you think he will be sent off. Referee Ben Williams having a good look at Brian Brand, and charging in from nowhere, Rhodey Payne not happy with the conduct there of Brand, and Gavalis is in some pain. It's a frustrated Brian Brand. Now what did the assistant see, let alone Ben Williams, in that incident? And whatever it was, Rhodey Payne came in from nowhere and immediately remonstrated. And now it will be Brand that will be summoned by Ben Williams. The question's going to be, what's the colour of the card? It's a yellow. And the travelling South Melbourne supporters not happy with the outcome. There's plenty, in fact most of the spectators, including myself, stumped here at George Andrews Reserve. Not many people did get not many spectators rather got a good look at the incident. It was a slightly off ball. And Rhodey Payne, it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him for retaliating as well. Just being spoken to. And that man, Ben Williams, has definitely been busy with the cards and his book. A very physical game to date. A very even contest. Gavalis. Brand. Sent forward by Payne. Out-muscled there by Sherburn. And well done there from Payne. Unable to bring possession though back for South Melbourne. Cocciardi. And that incident, this game's instantly lifted a notch. Sherburn. Whipped in. Cocciardi needed to keep it down. Better play though from the Thunder. Gavalis. Another obstruction. Well, interesting collision there between Joyef and also Alban. Brand wanted Kearney. Mullet with the throw. Here's Corchadi. Dispossessed by Giardis, who's done a good job in that back four for South Melbourne this afternoon. As we mentioned, not in his familiar position in midfield, but holding the fort well, particularly with the absence of Biles and also O'Dore. There he is again in the thick of the action. Rickson. The placement of his footballs this afternoon from the air have been stellar. That one, however, read by Mullet. Webster. And another clearance that didn't look convincing but found the target. Conditions difficult with the football, particularly this greasy pitch here. It will be kept alive by Foster. Foster. Through Johnson. Rexepi. Lost it. And a sense of an anti-climax there from the Thunder supporters. They sense the build-up. Losing it there too, Sherburn. A greasy football plus a pitch here at George Andrews Reserve. And out-muscled there, but illegally. Sherburn from Rodri Payne. Rexepi with the set piece, and it's been an element of the game this afternoon where a lot of players really haven't found their mark. And you expect so much better, particularly from the quality of balls they've delivered in the past. He and Gasparis, also Kearney to name a few. Brand through some heavy traffic again. In that instance, Jawadi. Foster. You feel it'll hold up. In fact, it won't. Just getting a bit of speed, that football. And the South Melbourne assistant, Joe Montemuro, just calling in Joseph Keenan. So a substitution will be made. You feel one of the midfielders, particularly wide, will be coming off. Maybe Kyle Joyef will succumb to injury, but as play continues, and it's Kearney straight to Gavalis. And Joseph Keenan will be coming on, and Gavalis. Not much he's done wrong this afternoon. And that was a wayward kick. South Melbourne dispossessed, but so too was Kearney. Taylor turnovers. This last 10 to 15 minutes. Giardis clipped. And this physical contest continues. Just on 70 minutes lapse in this contest between the league leaders, the Dandenong Thunder, and South Melbourne. It's 0-0. And the Thunder, they've had a habit of winning all season. That's exactly what they've done. They've collected maximum points from all of their 7 outings. And should the score remain as is, it'll be the first time they've conceded points all season. Rexepi back with Webster. It's a good clearance too. Kochari again with Payne, this time out muscling Payne. This looks another promising build up too. Theodore should be Gavas's and is. And the win there, really pulling that ball back. Making it easier for Gavalis. That's been a good contest too this afternoon, winning in that instance. Jawadi there on Hatzimuratis. Gasparis. Rexepi. And that's a good ball too in the direction to Foster. What about the defending there from Dimitri Zardis? He's really played well as a centre half for South Melbourne this afternoon. Kochari. And this time Foster's through, but the touch lets him down. Kochari there. Was one step ahead, played it to Foster. And the touch lets Foster down. And although we're still at a stalemate, just over 70 minutes in, you still feel a goal is on the cards. And the beauty about this game, which way is it going to go? It's been a very even contest to date. There's no doubt about it. Both teams have had their chances. Dandenong with the better chances. But either team unable to finish to date. Joyev, cleared by Brand. Here's Zaris. Back to the last line. Ingavalis. And not sure what Sherburn is on about there. Definitely was a South Melbourne ball off his back. And it's Joseph Keenan, as we predicted, coming on. And, well, we called it first. Kyle Joyev coming off in what has been a very serviceable match for Kyle Joyev. He's coming off on a stroke of 70 minutes and replaced by Joseph Keenan, former Melbourne Victory man, now with South Melbourne. Zardis. Brand had more time with that header. And now South Melbourne with a great chance to forge an attack. Hatzimuratis wide. Webster's. And it's still a clear goal line. And this time South Melbourne have broken the deadlock. Stuart Webster there coming off his line, unable to deal with that ball and hold it. And South Melbourne have scored on the stroke of 72 minutes, and it's come from Dimi Hatzimuratis. He's gifted South Melbourne the lead, and remarkably, the Dandenong Thunder have only conceded their second goal for the year, and it's a costly one too, because they're currently trailing South Melbourne now by 1-0. Dimitri Hatzimuratis there. Webster came in to save that ball, didn't hold it, and collided there in a sea of opponents, and Dimitri Hatzimuratis there to come and finish. And the Thunder now, for the first time this season, well, trailing on the scoreboard. The only time, in fact, I'll take that back, the only time they did trail on the scoreboard was for about 10 minutes against Northcote City 3 weeks ago. But they were able to respond back with a bang. And this time, South Melbourne have withstood the pressure provided from the Thunder all afternoon, and they now find themselves in the box seat with just under 20 minutes remaining. And now the Thunder making a substitution of their own. Ross Thompson, the former gold medalist, coming on. And it's Vetan Korchadi coming off for the Thunder. And Thompson, no stranger of scoring goals himself, particularly from long range. He's a master at it. And the Thunder now with just over 15 minutes to find a lifeline back in this contest. They're leading, in fact they're trailing South Melbourne by 1-0. And it's Dimi Hatsimuratas that scored that vital goal. And now South Melbourne sense blood. And it's that man, the goal scorer, with the football. Hatsimuratas, closely tracked by Kearney. Rickson. And that's the game he's played today. He's serviced his wing as well either side. And Webster holds it second time. And the lights, as we said, coming on George Andrews Reserve. Very dark and gloomy conditions here at Dandenong. Thompson. Foster. Brought down on the turn by Johnson. Thompson. Will need to break through what has been a very solid makeshift South Melbourne defence this afternoon. And also Gavalis, it's a bullet of a ball into the box. Rickson thought he was infringed there. Jawadi wins the battle. And that long ball into no man's land for the Thunder. Just under 15 minutes remaining here at George Andrews Reserve. And who would have thought this? An undermanned South Melbourne up against an undefeated Dandenong Thunder. And they're currently in the box seat for another away victory. South Melbourne's form on the road has been far more impressive than at home this season. Their last 2 wins have come on the road. Can they make it 3 on the trot? And this will be a huge gulp as well in the Thunder. Should they be able to hold on? Trefiro has Gasparis. And too long and high for Rickson to control. Webster. And at least the light a lot better now with the lights on at George Andrews Reserve. It's officially a day-nighter in my books. But we're not talking cricket. Rexepi. And it's the South Melbourne supporters in full voice at the moment. And Dandenong Thunder supporters absolutely shell-shocked by that goal. Sung into silence. Keenan kept it alive. Too deep for Rickson. Webster. Trafiro. Wanted on the inside. There for Hatzimarakis. The Thunder will clear. Nice 1-2. Foster won't have the legs to get through Johnson. And that, ironically, could score a goal itself on the old pitch that the Dandenong Thunder used to play on. Free kick for South Melbourne. Gavalis will take it. Just on 10 minutes left in this contest. And it's what an interesting finale we have. Dandenong could be on the cusp of tasting defeat for the first time this season. And is it the victory that South Melbourne notched to get their season back on track? But the Thunder will be throwing everything to preserve that undefeated status. Rexepi with time and space. Theodore. Whipped in. Foster with control. Gavalis, a brilliant save. How did he keep that out? 3 brilliant saves from Gavalis this afternoon, but it's not over yet. This time, South Melbourne clear through Johnson. Jawadi. This is brilliant play from South Melbourne. The Thunder throwing absolutely everything at South, but they're still able to absorb the pressure. And should this score stay as is, Pete Gavalis has been absolutely instrumental in delivering this result. And another yellow in the books. And it's the goal scorer, Hatzimarakis. Thompson just waiting to take the free kick. Ben Williams has Hatzimarakis' name in the book. Thompson cleared there by Rickson. And South Melbourne streaming forward in numbers now. Payne. Good pressure there from Theodore. Alvin. Back with Webster. And Thompson nearly got a nudge there. Referee disagreed. Theodore. This time clipped by Payne. Now another substitution being made by Chris Taylor. Theodore coming off, Armenian coming on, and there you have it! There's the equaliser! Foster coming in, and there you have it! The Dandenong Thunder didn't remain behind for long, only 15 minutes. We just mentioned the substitution. It was that substitution that created a break in the game, and it was Theodore coming off and being replaced by Armenian. The second it was called, the free kick taken, and it was flicked home and finished there by Nathaniel Foster.
on the 87th minute mark, mind you. And the Dandenong Thunder do not know how to concede defeat. Can you believe it? And even though we've only got a few minutes left in this contest, you think that there's still a goal remaining. Keenan whipped in, an open goal looms. Wow, and this time Craig Alvin there denying a shot on Hatsimuratas. The ball back in again. Rickson, Alvin, can't clear. Keenan! He knows you should have done better than that. And there's more car horns going off here than vuvuzelas in South Africa. Webster. Hatsimuratas. And there's definitely another twist in his tail. And Nathaniel Foster rewarded. He was initially denied twice by Gavalis. And a couple of times where the flag went up when he was in a goal-scoring position. But this time, you'd be able to spot that haircut and boots from the moon. He didn't miss on this occasion. Beautifully slotted home on that near post. It was a great finish there from Nathaniel Foster. Kearney. And remarkably, can the Thunder snatch 3 points? Sherburn will play on. And it's a good ball to Foster too. Great tackle coming in there from Trafiro. And the Thunder have lifted a notch. Thompson can finish this. And, you know, he can do better as well. We're just commenting on his long-range skills. And all of a sudden, the home supporters have found a new spark in their voice. And just only a minute or two remaining of ordinary time. Armenian, the new substitute, getting one of his first touches. Whipping the ball in. South should have the numbers to clear. Tata stars, but it's straight with Brand. Rexepi. What a ball he supplied to set up Foster. Armenian. No targets there on the back post, but it spills to Thompson. Alvin. A sense of urgency. Only a few minutes left, and it's still another 2 points for either side up for grabs. It's locked at 1-1. And another corner for the Thunder. Kearney. And hasn't that brought the Thunder supporters to light? Kearney. Another corner wayward. That greasy football and pitch not assisting his effort. And a beautiful foil here for Kearney with some space on the left side, and had he got that cross in, there was 3 targets there on the back post, Armenian and also Sherburn as well. And that would have, you think, signalled the death for South Melbourne. Gavalis. Flicked on by Rickson. And South Melbourne, just when you thought they were coming home with a wet sail, the Thunder coming back to life with that equaliser from Foster. Just couldn't control it. Thompson on the turn. Now, that did get a deflection off Payne. Another corner for the Thunder. In what will shortly be one of the last pieces of play in the match. What a finale we have here at George Andrews Reserve. And the Thunder were on the cusp of tasting defeat for the season. They still well may. At least you'd think a minute left. Corner whipped in. Brand couldn't connect. Kearney whips it in. This time Armenian, and well held. That man Gavalis has been brilliant for South Melbourne this afternoon. 3 certain saves that would have resulted in goals. You know exactly why South Melbourne picked him up from Heidelberg. And also forgot to throw in the greens as well. Ben Williams will allow some medical attention. Meanwhile, as we do encroach into stoppage time, just a reminder to cap off this game. What a game we've had. It was a stalemate for over 70 minutes, and then Dimi Hatsimuratas broke the deadlock for South Melbourne in the 72nd minute. And just when it looked like South Melbourne were on the cusp of claiming a huge scalp away and their 3rd victory away from home on the trot, the Thunder, against the run of play, got that critical equaliser only 4 minutes ago, courtesy of Nathaniel Foster. And now we're into stoppage time. Looks like Craig Alvin will be okay. We certainly should have a minute left in this contest at least. And it's not game over yet, that's for sure. The Thunder really pressing with a couple of late corners. Good sportsmanship there from the Thunder. And Dimitri Zardes was expecting that ball to go back to Gavalis. Not over to touch. Thompson wins the header. Foster regaining his footing. Sherburn. Will be a Thunder throw. Foster, hasn't he come to light the last 15 minutes? Was being held. Now, luckily for South Melbourne, it was just outside the box. Some definite holding there from Philip Johnson. And this could spell danger for South Melbourne. Kearney hasn't been pinpoint with his set pieces this afternoon. He's such a gifted player. In fact, looks like he won't be taking it. He'll be having Kearney back on. Thompson. And also Craig Alvin, who's looking more like a warlord than a footballer out there. Thompson, the wall doing its job. And an anti-climax hit again for the Thunder supporters. Relief for South Melbourne. Gasparis. Foster. Keenan. Dispossessed. What a finale here at George Andrews Reserve. Kearney. Playing it short. Sherburn. Mullet. Can use Alvin. Alvin will need to go direct. It's amazing Craig Alvin can breathe with the amount of bandages he's got over him. His mouth and nose completely taped. Rexepi. And there you have it. Full time is signalled and the spoils are shared. And it's the Thunder's First game for the season where they've conceded points. They haven't tasted defeat. It's only a draw for the Thunder. Such is their good run. It's come to a halt against South Melbourne. Scores have finished at 1-1, and for the record, Dimi Hatsimuratis opened up South Melbourne's account in the 72nd minute, where it was an open goal. Webster unable to hold a ball, and he was able to slot home just on 10 yards, and the Thunder didn't trail for long. Just only 15 minutes after, it was Nathaniel Foster that equalised with a brilliant flick, a header slotted into the top right-hand corner of the net, past a brilliant Peter Gavalas all afternoon. And South Melbourne, despite the amount of injuries that they've had, will be absolutely elated collecting a point, but I'm sure sad at the same time that they weren't able to hold on onto the lead when they had the chance to win the game. And in the 70th minute mark, they were in the box seat to collect all 3 points, and the Thunder got a late equaliser, and the spoils have been shared at George Andrews Reserve. But from me, Simon McCuskey, it's good night here from George Andrews Reserve, and we'll be back with you for round 9 Victorian Premier League football. We will be coming to you next week from Kevin Bartlett Reserve with live action between Richmond and Hume. But from us this afternoon, it's good night.